Building a personal brand is a great idea because at some point it can become your career. If you can monetize it and build that platform, amazing. But even if you don't get to that point or you don't want to get to that point, having that personal brand can create opportunities, create connections, especially in an industry like esports and gaming. Yet there's a really common mistake a lot of people make early on that kills their progress and doesn't allow them to gain traction. They wonder what's going on, they give up, and they don't get the benefits that a personal brand can offer. And the mistake I'm talking about is making your content too focused on you. Obviously, you as a content creator, you as a personal brand matters. I mean, it is your personal brand and you're an integral part of it. But a lot of times, the focus of your content early on maybe shouldn't all be centered around you. Because when you're in that early stage, when your brand is in its infancy, people don't care about you. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you do. You might have a few fans. You might have your family watching you. That's great. And over time, you might build an audience. But if you really want to do it in the most effective, efficient, and quick way possible, consider that most of your audience, especially early on, doesn't really care about you as a person. It's harsh, but it is true in most cases. And it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean you can't grow a personal brand. What I would urge you to consider instead is to create content that fills a need for your audience. Because if your content is valuable to them, independent of you, they're going to be more likely to stick around. They're going to be more likely to enjoy that content. Over time, you can build that platform. And then eventually, when you have that platform, when you have those fans that follow your content, sure, you have a little bit more freedom with your content. Maybe more of your fans are there for you as a personality versus just the tips and tricks you provide. And a perfect example of this in the gaming industry is Harris Heller. If you're on YouTube or a content creator or a streamer, whatever, and you don't know him, you probably should, but he creates content helping streamers and content creators create better content, run better live streams, grow their audience. So what does this have to do with my point? Well, if you look at his earlier videos, a lot of them were centered around gear recommendations, OBS tips and tricks, marketing tips and tricks for streamers. And now that he's provided value to his audience over the course of years and built that platform, people do follow him just for him, like independent of the specific topic of the video he creates. Like me personally, I'll watch a video from him even if it's on a topic that I don't really care that much about, just because I enjoy his personality, I enjoy the way he delivers content, and that's just a product of him growing over the course of time. So he has that freedom to experiment with different titles that maybe don't fit in specifically with the norm on YouTube, or experimenting with different topics that aren't specifically gear related or OBS related or live streaming related. But early on, he probably wouldn't have that same freedom with his content because he didn't have that platform yet. And that's probably the situation you're in right now, still pretty early on, growing from the ground up, and that's great. So again, I want to urge you to consider create content that has a very specific and obvious value to your audience. And looking at my channel personally, I'm still in that stage where I am early on. So a lot of my content is, or all of my content is solving a very specific problem for you. For example, this one teaching you how to avoid this mistake. The other ones on my channel teaching you how to grow on Twitter, or how to grow on TikTok, or how to approach marketing, breaking down case studies. Each video has a very specific purpose, a very specific value that you as the viewer are getting out of it, regardless of if I'm the one presenting it or if someone else is. And then at a certain point, months, years, or a decade down the line, I might be in a position where I have a little bit more freedom. You're here just watching this video just for me, for my personality, and I could maybe experiment a little bit more, but a lot of creators jump the gun on that. So if you're in that situation where you're just starting out, you don't really have that platform, I would really urge you to consider shifting the focus from yourself and just highlighting how great you are to your audience, and instead focus on what value you can provide to your audience. What problem are you solving for your audience? A few possible ideas for you. If you're really good at a video game, like let's say Warzone, you can make videos teaching people how to get better at Warzone, or create content on your live stream about how to get better at Warzone. If you're a great graphic designer or creative in esports, you can make content around that. Videos, live streams. Perfect example of this is George from 100 Thieves. He does live streams every Saturday doing portfolio reviews, going over concepts in graphic design, and people tune into that every week because he's solving a very specific problem. He's teaching graphic designers how to get ahead in esports and improve their skills, get more opportunities. Sure, people love George and his personality, but they're mainly there, at least at the beginning, for his expertise and for the value that he provides. And over time, they get to know his personality and they stick around for that too. Point being, don't just think that your personality alone and being super entertaining like the next Nick Merckx or Tim the Tatman is your only avenue to success in gaming and esports. There are a ton of different opportunities. It again comes back to thinking about the value that you provide to your audience. So think about that. Once you have that dialed in, I would really encourage you to write it out in a sentence. If you can't clearly, explicitly say it, keep thinking, keep working. But once you have that dialed in, then you can think about, how do I grow on social media? How do I grow on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, all these different platforms? And if you need help with that, I do have some videos on the channel going over that. I will toss one up on the screen right now. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below what your biggest takeaway was. Drop a like down below, drop a sub down below for new videos just like this every single week. All the stuff that helps the YouTube algorithm, I'd really appreciate it. And I will go ahead and see you in that next video to help you grow your social media following.